And welcome to the No Summary Required podcast, and an episode that I'm doing for the sake of doing it because I really don't want to be bothered with anything tonight. I hate everything. I hate everyone except for the other two co-hosts, starting with Romina with the good hair. Audrey, please burn them all so I don't have to, Ember. And of course, your dark lord of the internet, here to rain fire and brimstone on each and every single one of you. Lovingly, I might add, but still, Roberto Blake. Welcome to the No Assembly Required podcast, filmed in front of a live YouTube audience. Please like and subscribe, or don't, because it really doesn't matter.
Dang. Wow. Roberto's coming in here. You know, you should come in here with a little bit of
might
anger.
call a mood. I'm in what one might call a mood.
All right. Well,
that's you know.
I'm not against it. I'm gonna say I'm not against it.
Are we going to talk about it?
Yeah, is this one of our therapy sessions?
I'd probably rather not. I'd rather not.
Where's my
I can vent to you guys and like bitch about my quote unquote like privilege problems that only exist in my head and therefore don't matter, and I'm not a human being after the show.
Okay.
I think I need to let everybody know that Roberto just like appeared maybe like 60 seconds ago. So he just comes in, says hi, and then we start.
I asked him what 9 plus 10 was, doesn't know. Very disappointing.
Oh yeah,
How does no one know this meme? I can't be the only one.
I hate memes. Don't you get the memo and everything like that? I will literally Thanos snap my fingers and eliminate all memes. I won't stop at half. They will all perish.
All of them? But there are some
all
good
of them,
ones.
without exception. None of them are innocent in my eyes.
Not even 9 plus 10?
Gone.
No.
Wow.
It's tragic.
Wow, gone just like that, obliterated. Okay, I got one for you. How about the meme with all the Spider-Mans pointing to each other?
No.
That one too?
All of them, without exception.
Oh my goodness.
How about the one of Elmo with the fire in the back?
There,
like
no mercy, no quarter shall be given, none shall be spared.
I was trying to get.
All right, no, I got one. How about ain't nobody got time for that?
Gone.
Is that a meme?
What do you mean? Is that a meme?
Is that just like a?
I'll let you look it up, Audrey.
God.
Culture yourself.
All right.
No, I hate everything. I hate everything.
Chris Anderson in the chat says makes note to never send Roberto a meme. Oh yeah, what about a Star Wars meme?
I hate everything.
Wow. Okay.
I think we should switch topics from memes. This seems to be a touchy subject.
Well, that's all right, because tonight we are going to be talking about a touchy subject, which is talent.
Ooh. Oh no.
And whether people actually have it or not.
Mm.
And what is talent?
Mm.
All right, that's the first thing we're going to define here. Audrey, you start us off.
Talent?
Yeah, kick us off.
Oh, I was gonna rewatch that video from Kelly Stevens. I completely forgot.
That one's not super relevant, I don't think. We talked about it last week, but I don't think it's really that relevant.
Yeah, I think talent means you're good at something, right? It's not something that you can either be learned or you can just be kind of naturally.
Talent is about.
Normally, it's learned.
No, talent is about it being natural. It's about an innate ability. It's something you don't have to work hard to be good at.
Wait, so
it can be improved with hard work.
Instrument.
Huh?
So someone's like super good at an instrument. Wouldn't they be talented, but they had to work?
They could work to improve it, but like
I would call that a skill.
So you can have, but there are people who are musically inclined. Talent, for example, is someone who can who can learn music by ear. That's talent. They're musically inclined and they have talent if they can learn. Somebody who can see somebody do something and then also do it, that's talent. Like someone who can pick it up that quickly, That's innate ability. That's talent. Someone who, without ever taking an art class, can draw really well or paint, or that's talent.
Okay. So talent doesn't apply to
talent
learn.
is where someone might be reasonably proficient or good at something without the benefit of training or instruction. Innate ability.
So,
I don't think Audrey likes that. She made like a frowny face.
What's the difference between being like skilled at something and talented? Because you said that like an instrument is a skill.
No, learning, you can develop a skill based off of a talent.
Okay.
Having the talent to learn music by ear would mean that learning to play music well would come more easily to you than somebody else.
Yeah. So
you could try to teach someone to read sheet music, but they may not have the talent for it. They may not have the aptitude for it. They may not be able to do that at all. But they would then have to learn and work harder to be able to play music without that ability.
The difference would be that a skill is something that you develop, whereas a talent is something that you can.
It's innate. It can be improved upon through training, but it's innate.
Right. It's something that you don't have to do training in order to get the basics of.
Someone who has they say, here's an example of it used in language. Someone has a talent for holding large numbers in their head. Someone who has a talent for learning languages very quickly and very easily. So again, Victoria says the literal definition is natural aptitude or skill, but I think they're using skill as a synonym, but that's fine. It's whatever if you want to use that, because the way other people think of skill is they think of it skills like on the job skills, which is a benefit of training. But the fact that we said natural is the qualifier here. So again, it's basically a nature versus nurture type deal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was the definition.
The more you know.
It says natural aptitude.
I have almost no.
What would you do without us, Audrey? You just learn something new.
Fail.
I have almost no actual talent.
How about you have a talent for learning skills?
Yeah, that's about all I have. That's about literally all I have.
That's a pretty big one.
Yeah, because I think you have it's seems like it's broad, but because of that, you can learn a lot of different things.
I can very quickly train myself to be proficient at almost anything. That's my only talent in and of itself. I'm not by nature good at any of those things, though. I'm not good at I'm not really good at anything, but I can train to become good at anything at a faster pace than other people, and I can close the gap sometimes on people who were born with talent. That's the only talent I have.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're talented at like breaking things down in a way that most people can't, and like teaching too. You know
that was also something that I merely trained at.
I don't know. I think that's kind of more unique, like for you. I don't think someone else could like learn to do that.
I think it isn't fair to say that I don't think that it's fair for anybody to say that they don't have any talents. I think it's possible that you haven't discovered what your talents are yet. Not you specifically, but I mean in general, like you, I mean people. Because sometimes you discover talents later in life, depending on experiences and where the resources that you have available to you, right? It's like someone who doesn't have a piano available to them when they're 3, but then they suddenly do when they're 40. They discover that they have that ability.
All right, if I was going to be more generous or arguably more fair, then I would say that one of my few natural talents would be that I have a talent for communication.
Yeah.
And then that talent for communication is one of the other little things that allows me to learn at a faster rate at something that I would not naturally be gifted at. And you could argue that my long-term memory is a gift or a natural ability that I use to enhance that little talent.
Yeah, because that's definitely not that's hard to develop if you don't already have.
Yeah.
Maybe. What if we all have undiscovered talents that we don't know that are like super niche? What would
That's
they
what I'm
be?
saying. Like, what if I've never?
I bet Romina's really good at underwater basket weaving or something. Super specific.
I mean, maybe, but that's really what I mean. That's what self-actualization is, right? Is to get to that point where you can practice these different things and have these things be more accessible, so that you're able to see what you're good at. You can find these little things, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of my goals, is to do underwater basket weaving. So.
Really?
No.
No.
April Fool!
No, that would have been a great coincidence.
April Fools.
Oh my god. I haven't been got all day. I'm not taking that.
Oh, speaking of April Fools, Roberto, is your mood an April Fool's joke?
No.
Oh. Never mind.
It would be really cool if it was a bit. It is not. It's not a bit.
Well, I just made it a bit, kind of.
Yeah. No, you were graciously giving me an out, and I declined.
Thank you for calling me so gracious.
Yeah.
Gracious. Jake of all trades says, Audrey is secretly the Michael Jordan of wilderness survival.
Guys, drop me on an island. I will thrive.
See, well, that's the thing. How come, you wouldn't know unless you get dropped on that island. You don't know what you're...
No, we've been camping with Audrey. No, we've been camping with Audrey.
Right, I'm just kidding. Oh, my small scout experience. I'll be tying all the knots. Just thriving.
Well, see, my skill of being able to retain a lot of useless information would come in handy at that point. That's because I remember, because of all the stuff that I have as far as useless information, that's like the perfect scenario.
Well, for those of you who are in the chat right now, if you can do us a favor and like and maybe retweet our latest tweet at NoAssemblyPod on Twitter, that would do us a huge service, because you'd be letting people know that you're hanging out with us and that you want them to hang out with us too.
Like, people have often just felt, even with me, that's like, oh, you're so like talented and you're so good at all these things and everything like that. And it's literally not that I was blessed with any more ability than anybody else. I literally am just a freak of nature, and all I do is train. But the thing is, I can just get more out of training than other people. That's just how, like, that's my one upside.
What do you think are your talents, Audrey? Staying quiet for 85% of the podcast.
All right. Is a talent of mine. I like to think I'm a good listener. I actually pay attention.
Those of us with ADHD are mad jealous.
What about you, Romina?
Wow, is that it? That's your only talent, listening?
I don't know. Maybe something creative. I think I'm good at picking things up when it comes to creative things that aren't painting or drawing.
You're
Anything
good.
to do with the camera. I'm pretty in editing. I feel like I'm good at picking things up.
You're good at understanding the elements of the creative process because your talent may not be far off from mine. You can reverse engineer things. You can look at somebody else's work and you can figure out, if not exactly what they actually did, you could determine a means by which what their result was could be produced. You can figure out, okay, it may not be how they got from A to B, but I know a way to get from A to B looking at what their B is, and even if I don't know what their A was. You can look at somebody's results. Yeah, you can look at somebody's finished product, and even not having their resources, their experience, or their skills, or knowing what they had to work with, you can figure out a way to produce a similar result.
That's cool.
You can get something very close to their B. You can get something very close to their B with something very different than what their A was.
Mm.
That sounds cool. Good at reverse engineering creative work.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you just choose to apply it to creative work. You could probably do it with other things too, but you probably but you enjoy and like the creative work, so you gravitate toward that. But I'm pretty sure you could apply it to anything.
Mm.
Okay.
You'd probably have to train a little bit or study a little bit to make it come out as well, because the thing is, you've actually trained and studied at creative craft and skills and things. So if you tried to apply it in another area, it would only come out as good as your understanding of that other area.
That's cool. I hadn't thought about that. That's probably true. All right, Romina, it's your turn. What are yours?
My talents are my ability to adapt to change. I can adapt very quickly to changing environments. And I guess that kind of goes parallel with my innate ability to organize.
I was going to say, you're pretty good at doing that.
Yeah, I think that when I see chaos, I can quickly organize it, whether it's tangible or figuratively speaking. So I think I can just organize it well, and so I think because of that, I can adapt quickly because I can organize. I can jump over the obstacles. And then I think one of my other talents is I guess there's a few things. Creatively is writing. Creatively is writing. I didn't have to train to start writing poetry and stuff. And then also singing. I didn't have to take classes to be on key. I've always been very good at finding pitch since I was very young.
Nice.
I had a very small a bit of artistic ability.
I think there's also I wonder too how much of it is genetics and how much of it is because of my upbringing. Because
nature versus nurture.
Yeah, because I was brought up in a relatively organized home. So I wonder if that,
I mean, I was too, and I'm not as organized. My mom is a very organized person, and I'm not as organized at all as she is.
there's a ballot. No one's purely a product of their environment. No one's purely a product of their genetics, and no one's purely a product of their choices. It's some intersectionality of that, but there's no magical ratio for everybody on what that is. I feel that there's also times in your life where that's true and where it's no longer true. I think as an adult, you're more a byproduct, whether you want to believe it or not. Once you're an adult, at least what happens in your life relatively moving forward, if not you, but your circumstances are a byproduct of your choices once you become an adult and you're on your own. Your life, the life that you have, definitely becomes a byproduct of your choices once you become an adult and once you're doing for yourself or earning a living or whatever it is, or not, as it may be. Your predisposition, your temperament, things of that nature, or some combination of your environment and of your nature, whether you want to call that your genetics or not, but just like who you are, even if you want to say it's down to your soul, who you are in your soul, like your temperament, your personality, your attitude, some of those things are just who you are. Some of those things are experiences you had. Some of those things are how you are mixed with the experiences you had.
Right. There's no one ingredient.
It's the blend that makes the flavor.
Oh, are we gonna put that on a shirt?
I don't know. That sounds like it belongs on like that sounds like it's something that belongs on a beverage or a food product of some type. So I don't know that that's a shirt thing. I think it's more of like that's a different product.
All right, so let's make a beverage.
Picture of a soup.
Hey, NARP sounds like something I drink. Sounds like a fizzy drink. Why are you making that? Oh,
I don't know. I don't see
you
that
guys,
at all.
come on. I got great ideas. Wow.
I think it would be grape flavored. It's like
Grape flavored. You think our NARP
Yes.
beverage would be grape flavored? All right. Well, let's ask the audience.
like Fanta grape.
Chat. If NARP makes a fizzy drink, what would be the taste? What's the
I wish
flavor?
there was like a poll feature. You know how on Twitch you can do polls.
I don't
Yeah,
want a poll
YouTube.
feature. I don't want a poll feature. I want them to speak and have a conversation in the chat.
Mm,
See, the poll is just a button.
yeah, but
This
then
way
we
they
get,
can
like,
argue amongst
concrete
themselves.
numbers, you know.
I don't need concrete numbers. We're not making a beverage.
You don't want a focus group.
Maybe.
All right,
Maybe
check it
one
out.
day.
Andy Sand says, I want that purple stuff.
Yes, he
Ooh.
looks. So
Victoria
so
says-
great.
Victoria says it belongs on a
Oh.
t-shirt, but tea like the drink, guys. Joel says blood orange or mint.
Orange.
Diaz grape.
We're getting grapes and
It's
orange.
gotta be blue. It's gotta be that Heisenberg blue.
Devious Monkey
Oh.
says that it's melon flavored but purple. Grape 100%.
Oh my god. Guys, if we grow this podcast, we can
Oh man.
drop a
Interestingly, I did check our
soda.
subscriber count. I think we're almost at 300 subs.
What?
Yeah.
Excuse
Oh
me?
my god. Guys, subscribe if you haven't already.
Oh yeah.
How close
Can you
are we?
guys
Maybe we
please
can hit it.
subscribe? Because sometimes I'm a little late with the tweet game.
We're 15 away. So if everyone here subscribes, we can hit it.
Then we're gonna be famous.
No.
So just so you guys know, for context, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers because that'll help us with ads, and we can actually start
Doing things.
paying the money that we've been spending towards distributing this podcast
For
on
the
all of
audio.
platform.
Yeah.
For the audio. So we're actually operating on a negative right now, just in case.
Oh no,
Isn't it weird?
this is a loss leader.
Oh yeah. No, but you're gaining the experience.
Tell that to my PayPal account.
And oh, Roberto, how dare you? You really think that you're really gonna put our
Dang.
relationship on that level?
I'm going to count every copper.
Don't worry. Well, it's an initial investment. We'll make it back.
You knew what I
with
was.
Our soda brand.
Oh yeah. Here's the thing. Once we've gotten to the point where we're starting to make profit, we're just gonna make our NARP drink. And it's gonna be cherry flavored.
I do feel that in general, that people who build actual like businesses and products off of their internet notoriety are better off than people who ultimately rely on ads and brand deals. I think that building an actual business is in the best interest of anybody who's a creator. Because like with an actual business, people who want to support you will support you, and your haters, they weren't spending money anyway. So it doesn't matter what anybody, like at the end of the day, from a business standpoint, the people not spending money with you, like their opinion is like, okay, and like, it's not that they don't matter. It's that they're not a priority. Meaning that if they don't like something or they're offended or they don't like you anymore or whatever, if they were never spending money than you, then it's not like something that's so damaging. But that only is true when you have an actual business. When you don't have an actual business and you have to subsidize your content with brand deals or ad revenue, it's a little bit more touch and go there. Nelk Boys is a primary example of this business model. The Nelk Boys can make any content they want, and their audience either rocks with them or they don't. And their audience rocks with them, which means all outside criticism, have at it, because it's not going to mean a damn thing at the end of the day, because you cannot cancel the Nelk Boys. There's nothing you could do other than deplatform them, and they don't do anything that merits deplatforming for the most part. And even if they did, platforms have to use that as a last resort or face the wrath of the government eventually under Section 230, which nobody wants. So, you know, like that's why it's smart. The business, like even Mr. Beast stopped taking brand deals for the most part and is just building his own businesses and letting people support him directly. So like at the end of the day, the creators who just decide to have funding directly through their audience are the ones who are going to stay in control of their own brand.
And that's why we need to make our own soda.
Wow. And it all comes full circle. Speaking of brands,
am I the only one still here?
Yeah. And yeah. What's happening?
Hello?
Oh, can you not hear us?
Did I freeze or did you guys freeze?
I think that you froze. I mean, nobody froze on my end.
We're still here. Yeah.
And you missed Audrey's joke, so you're gonna have to watch it in the replay.
Got no reaction.
Are you still good right now, though, Roberto? Can you see us?
I don't think he can hear us. He's not reacting.
All right.
Okay, you guys are back now. Was it like, well, Audrey's back.
You.
It's Romina that's frozen.
It's
Wait,
you,
what?
Roberto.
So, I think it's yours that froze, Roberto, because me and Romina have been here the whole time.
Roberto,
Which
it's
is really
you.
weird.
Wait, can you guys?
It's you, Roberto.
Wait, can you hear Romina? This is very confusing.
I mean, I'm having a conversation with Audrey, right? Audrey, you're there,
Yeah,
right? Say chicken.
I can hear both of you.
Say chicken. Okay, yeah. See, so we're good. It's yeah.
Okay, what about now? What about
I'm
now?
Fine. I hear
Testing. Roberto, say chicken.
What about
Say
chicken?
chicken. Okay.
Both. Oh yeah. Okay, we're
Chicken.
back.
All right. We're good. Maybe.
What just happened? That was so weird.
He's
I don't know.
All right.
I
Here's
don't
a
know.
here's
I
a
hate
good question.
everything.
Actually, here's a good question.
Including the modem.
Oh boy. All right. Well, here's a good question. Check this out. KDX says, "Is controlling your own brand talent?"
No, that's called training, because
That's a
all these
skill.
very talent. Yeah, well, you can
You learn it.
you learn it.
What if
You
someone
have to
just
be,
really
or you
good
have to
at
be taught.
business?
No one's innately good at business.
Oh, okay.
There are qualities. No, there are qualities that make them good.
There are qualities that can add up.
predisposition them.
Yeah.
Yes, that can predisposition to be good at aspects of business, but not business as a whole. Business is way too complex for someone to actually naturally be. They can have aptitudes that would make them very
Right.
good at aspects of business.
The system.
Sales, for example, there are people who are naturally gifted in such ways that would make them good at sales. Me with communication skills.
Right.
And then the aspect of my brain to retain information makes me very good at certain aspects of logistics. My
Right.
ADHD makes me very bad at project management.
Yeah, so it's kind of like my skill for math is something that really helps me with business because I can see things very clearly. And then also my organizational talents. I think there are, and then also I guess adaptability too, because that also helps with business as well. Because if you have to make changes to adapt and keep your business sustainable.
I'm a good CMO and a good CIO, and that could make me a specific type of CEO. Having the aptitudes of being a good CMO and a CIO, which means Chief Marketing Officer and then Chief Information Officer, you could see that I'd be good at those. But that doesn't make me a perfect CEO. It makes me a certain type of CEO. It makes me a very good CEO within the context of a digital media brand or a very consumer centric band. It puts me, I'm not in the same league as Jeff Bezos. I'm just saying that my aptitudes for certain things are similar to more of a Bezos or even a Steve Jobs, but not an Elon Musk. Elon Musk has aptitudes that again come from, he would be
Another
a good
planet?
Elon Musk is not good at marketing, but Elon Musk is a great, like for example, he'd be a very good CTO. He's a good chief technical officer. I also think he has the qualities of possibly a good COO. He's a very good operator. He's a very good operator. He's a good hands-on lead from the front person. Be there on the floor with his people. He's very good at those things, but he's not a good CMO. He would not be a good CMO. He would not be a good designer. Steve Jobs is a good CMO. Okay, and he's a good CCO. He's a good chief creative officer. I'm a good chief creative officer. So I'm more like Steve Jobs, but closer on the spectrum of Jeff Bezos's attitude, because then Jobs, I'm not as much of a prick as Jobs.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Steve. But
I do want to bring up something in the chat. MG Art says, I'm not good at much outside of creative, but I'm hopeful I can learn. And I think that something that helps me is to think of, like, there's a lot of things that I would love to learn, like a lot of different skills. But I think that removing that pressure of having to be an expert or comparing myself to other people who are talented in those skills really helps in opening up and allowing me to be able to learn, because I'm going in there with a thought of, I'm going in to learn how this new thing works, how to do this new thing without the pressure of becoming an expert in said thing. And I think
I don't believe in experts. I believe in experience. I believe that we have a weird idea about expertise, but expertise is only comparative. So it's irrelevant. It has no individual quality that would be meaningful in a bubble. Because the thing is, the outcome required, the best outcome required is not the outcome necessary, not for the market. The market would live with an 80% solution if that's all the market knew. Think about the best possible outcome that could have existed at any given point in time is the outcomes we currently have. But how long did the market say fine and okay to lesser outcomes than the outcomes we currently have? You see my point?
Yes.
Like if you don't know If you don't know what great looks like, you'll think that good is great. If you don't know what good looks like, you'll think mediocre is great.
Mm. Is it just me, Audrey?
Well, what?
No,
Oh, okay.
What? What's up?
I don't want to trigger Roberto over your mic, but it's acting up.
My mic or
Yeah, I don't know what that was. It stopped now.
what?
You kind of sound like you're going
Underwater
under
to weave
a
some
con-
baskets.
That must have just been a bandwidth issue. That's not the mic. That's the godforsaken internet.
Another
We were both like, "Oh God."
Yeah, I
Oh,
was
no.
just like, do I tell him or?
Yeah.
It's kind of like in Hercules, you know, the animated Hercules, the Disney Hercules film, when the little demons have to tell Hades that Hercules is still alive.
Oh,
What was Pain and Panic?
Yeah, Pain and Panic, the little demons.
Yeah.
have you guys been seeing the Lil Nas memes?
I
No,
guess.
actually, I haven't. I have not. I mean, I saw
very
like a couple
funny.
photos and like GIFs,
Mm.
but I haven't actually watched the video and like I haven't heard the song and I haven't seen any memes. I've just seen like some
He's-
articles and stuff on Twitter.
I've
with it.
seen
See,
a lot of the TikToks. And
he's an
it's
example
pretty
of
good.
why when you're mad at something, the worst thing you can do is give it more attention.
Ooh, you got that right.
I mean, technically, it was good outrage marketing. Like,
That's my point, though. You're just like, oh, mission accomplished, you morons. You're like, you know,
Yeah.
like that's why I don't believe in, like, I believe that cancel culture is damaging, and I believe that's not a good thing, and I believe outrage and all this stuff and everything. You know why? Because I'm consistent. Because I believed it in 1990 whatever when they tried to cancel The Simpsons. Like when they wanted to cancel The Simpsons, that was cancel culture. It was just wasn't directed at individuals. It was directed at the creators. Well, actually, it was directed at individuals, the creators of The Simpsons. But they thought, oh, the
Yeah.
network. But no, the Fox as a network was going to be fine. It was going to be Matt, and it was going to be his team of animators that were going to go under if that was the case. Mortal Kombat is the same
Video
thing.
games.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat, the video games and everything like that. Cancel culture already existed. It's just that it's now, instead of like angry old school marms, it's freaking Gen Z, and it's like fake woke millennials, and like from our generation, it's like it's people like that, because it was in the 90s and stuff. Actually, in the 80s, it was video games in general in the 80s. Then in the 90s, it was Simpsons and it was South Park. I remember this. Then later it was Pokemon's the devil. And then it was Harry Potter. And
Yes.
and it was like literally teachers got fired for having those books in their classrooms and not
Right.
like, yeah, it's a whole thing. And that was cancel culture too. The difference is the internet is now a thing and it exists. And now the outrage is not coming from disconnected people who are disconnected with the culture of youth. It's now that the youth culture is disconnected with reality itself and is internalizing, extrapolating all their feelings and all of their hurts and all of their pains and using that as an excuse to
Audrey.
project it onto the lives of perfect strangers who have nothing to do with them and frankly don't affect their lives in any meaningful way.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just hilarious to me that, again, because guess what? It's cancel culture when it's Lil Nas X too, because again, that's the same, what's the word I'm looking for? Puritanical. It's the same puritanical view that was applied to Mortal Kombat and to South Park and to Simpsons and to all of it. And the thing is, the Gen Z puritanical view is about what offends them, in the same way that the Gen Xers and Boomers will look at Lil Nas X because they're the real ones trying to cancel him, you know. And so like you can't win, because it's either kids who don't know how the world works or it's older people who are long since past how the world works, and then the rest of us normal-ish people are caught in the middle.
Dang.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for this. There we go.
Dang.
Yeah.
So yeah, he has a real talent for pissing these people off.
You know what would be a good April Fool's joke is just get somebody canceled and then at the end of the day be like, oh, April Fool's.
That wouldn't be a good of a fool's joke, to be real with you. Because it's like, it's hard to undo.
All your sponsors.
It's hard to put the genie back in the bottle.
Yeah.
And remember, the entire problem with Gen Z cancel culture partly right now, or at least one of the problems is people can't take a joke. Humor is dead. They tried to come for Kevin Hart. Remember that? They tried to come for all these comedians, actually. They tried to come for all the comedians. But like Kevin Hart, and then like, you don't take his apology the way he like, he didn't apologize your way. So it's not an apology. Right. That's called compelled speech, homie. That like, you don't get to do that.
Yeah, that's why I just don't apologize ever for anything.
Apologize for nothing.
Never.
Burn them all. Like, no, the Mad King might have had a point there. You might like, I'll just burn them all.
Let them eat cake. I'm serious. Just let them eat cake.
Well, Marie Antoinette, that's an interesting thing. It's like, she didn't really do anything so horrible as to deserve to have her head chopped off,
Oh, God.
Yeah.
The peasants of the French Revolution were not the good guys. The nobility weren't either, but like, but they weren't the good guys. Like, actually, look into the French Revolution. Yeah. It's really interesting.
I think I learned the French Revolution 3 times, and I forgot everything.
Yeah, it wasn't like they weren't the good guys. By the way, the storming of the Bastille, it's like, we're literally going to go and let the worst criminals out of the are you serious? Like, that's a really good imagine today if they decided that the answer to criminal justice was literally to go raid all of our prisons, and their answer was, instead of storming the Bastille, imagine their answer was storming Guantanamo Bay and letting everyone out.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say.
Yeah, that's a brilliant idea. That's a brilliant idea. Viva la revolution. Yeah, that's brilliant.
Just let them out. Let them out.
That's brilliant. No.
Let them eat cake. Speaking of that, Audrey, have you seen Marie Antoinette, the movie with Kirsten Dunst?
I was about to say, it was Kirsten Dunst.
Yeah, it's directed by Sofia Coppola. Oh, you should watch it. I think you might like it.
Okay.
I mean, you're not going to learn anything about the French Revolution, just FYI, but...
KDX, we need to I think it needs to be a 2 or 3 year time limit on being offended, because like, I literally feel that it's kind of like, we're moving so fast.
Context
my crime expires.
KDX says, if I do something offensive, you got 5 years to get me, or my crime expires.
Wait, so if you murdered someone,
your thought crime. He means by that the thought crime. The thought crime, not a legit crime. Although the statute of limitations on a lot of crimes, almost most of the crimes that you could commit in America, statute of limitations is less than 5 years on most things. In many cases, it's about 2 to 3 years, which is, again, even I think first of all, I don't think thought crime should be a thing, and yet they are. And literally, it's like, you out here, people always get away with it. Get away with what? Hurting your feelings?
Make Orwell fiction again.
Thank you. For real. No, for real, though. Because here's the thing. Everyone was so convinced that it was the government that was going to become Orwellian, and it wasn't the government. It was the people that did it.
Yeah, well, isn't the government supposed to be the people?
It's not. It never was.
All right, Audrey's like, can we talk about YouTube now?
Yeah, no, we can talk about anything else. I'm just we can talk about anything else.
Audrey, do you have anything to say about talent? Just to kind of bring things back. What?
Do you think that? Hang on, let me ask you this, Audrey.
I don't have a good
Audrey, do you think that there are any? Audrey, do you think that there are any successful influencers that are not particularly talented?
Yes.
Damn, that was fast.
He didn't even get to put a punctuation mark on that. What?
I mean,
are you about to spill the tea?
I mean, I guess, all right, everyone has talent in their own right, but I think some are just not as talented in the skills needed to be an influencer realm. For sure. I mean, I don't want to trash TikTokers, but there's definitely a lot of them, in my opinion, that would fit that criteria.
There were a lot of Viners that fit that criteria back then too.
Viners, because it's just the bar is just really low on the type of things that people consume. So
there's a reason there's a
everyone-
reason you can have 10 million followers on TikTok and not get 40,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah,
And I'm
it's the
using a
I
real
respect-
number
there's
when I
a lot
said
of-
that, by the way.
there's a lot of TikTokers I don't necessarily appreciate, but then I still can see that they're talented, whether it's
Sure.
in turning it into a business or getting attention or whatever it is to being a successful influencer. I can
Do you think that
acknowledge
getting
they're
attention-
talented, but I mean, I think
Do you think that getting
attention?
attention requires you to be? Do you think you have to be talented to get attention?
I think they're good at manipulating like the culture and stuff of these.
You mean you
platforms.
were trying to skirt around you saying they're good at manipulating people?
Yeah.
that
Which,
Let's
I
make no
mean,
mistake.
it could be a
Let's make no
talent.
mistake. Let's make no mistake. Being an influencer to the magnitude of millions of people in a micro platform does mean that you are good at psychologically manipulating perfect strangers into giving you attention for little or no reason. Because if you can accomplish that, because we're not talking long form content, we're not talking about a YouTube video that you, and I'm not dissing short form content or saying it doesn't require thoughtfulness or talent. It does. But I'm saying that if you, with very, very little life experience, very, very little training, education, no 10,000 hours at anything, can get millions of people or 10 million people who are perfect strangers to give you attention at will and command, you're good at emotionally manipulating people into doing what you want. You probably can walk into a room and get what you want out of people if you think about it. That's what you are good at. And again, that can be commoditized in a lot of ways. It's just that social media has made it very convenient to monetize that for people who would not be able to walk into the right rooms where that would be the skill to have.
Yeah.
The Andy San in chat says there's plenty of creators out there who can't edit at all, and yet their personality allows them to get a huge audience.
Gary V doesn't have any ability to shoot with a camera or edit a video. He can use a phone though. So, but I'm not dissing Gary V. I'm making a very valid point, a point he's made himself.
I mean, it is what it is. It's not like
he doesn't need to be a
bad thing.
technician. He doesn't need to be a technician. He's a talented public speaker, orator, communicator, human.
I don't know very much about sound. I don't know how to set up the amplifier with mic and all that stuff and get stage sound ready. But I've performed
These
in
are all
front of
skills you could
people
learn.
before. It's not something that I need to know,
I think that getting attention is a talent. I think it's a talent of psychology and emotionally manipulating or leveraging people, which is a valid talent. That's called charisma. That's called charisma.
Yeah,
Now-
and you can work on that with your Sims. You have your Sims stand in front of a mirror and they practice
Alright.
their speech and they get charisma.
Is that how it works in real life too? Is that all I have to do?
I mean, to a certain extent, yeah. I mean, that's how the Sims get charisma, right? I mean, they stand in front of the mirror and then they also read
That's true.
books, right?
The thing is you can augment. The thing is you might have natural innate talents or even a lack of it. The good news is that with training or experiences, whatever you have can be augmented. It can be enhanced, and even and talent that you don't use withers and decays anyway. So or never grows, or it stays the same. It stays stagnant and never grows. It becomes static. It's just like, all right, there might be people who have a high metabolism, so maybe they don't get fat, but that doesn't mean they're fit. They just will never get fat. But if that same person with a high metabolism, trains, they would get fit and be able to maintain the gains longer than the average person who either doesn't train or doesn't have a high metabolism.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So if you think about it, from that perspective,
yeah.
you can build on something or naturally the rate of decay might be less than other people's, or it might just be static, where something bad would have to happen to diminish it, or something good would have to happen to increase it.
Same.
Audrey, what do you mean same? You're a host on the show. You can't be confused. Audrey, can you please read this question from the audience?
All right. What's better, 10,000
Wait, say
hours?
who read the question. You have to.
Jake of all trades says, what's better, 10,000 hours at one thing or 1,000 hours at 10? I feel like this is easy question. No?
Why do you think it's an easy question?
Yeah, let her answer.
10,000 hours at one thing.
Why?
I think if you choose one thing that is useful and you get pretty good at it, it's more useful than being mediocre.
Until the day that the market decides that the one thing you thought was useful is no longer useful.
All right. But then you can switch and do something else.
Nope, because you might have already spent all of your energy and all of your talent points.
Then you got to spend another 10,000 hours on the other thing.
How many days is 10,000 hours?
10,000 hours. Okay, so
math.
So like, no, let me give you a more rational. Let me give you a rational version of it. Let me give you a rational human being's version of it. Okay. If you were like, if you go to college and if you're studying like a specific thing in college, right, and you're training a certain thing in college, or if you're playing a sport or you're doing whatever, in theory, because you have to sleep and you have to live your life, in theory, you're probably, while living and making a living and doing your life, if you wanted to learn something outside of your job, at best, you probably have 3 hours every day on average to commit to learning something, which means you can only put in 1,000 hours of concentrated learning at one thing per year. Here's the problem with school. Even with school, in theory, you don't go to school 365 days a year, even in college. And you're not training at your thing and your craft every day when you're not in college, unless you're going to college for something and somehow you're also part-time working, interning, freelancing, and hustling at the exact same thing. This is why on-the-job training actually really matters, right? So the thing is, think about it like this. If you're working a 40-hour week job, then you actually can only work 160 hours in a month, which means that you can only work about 1,400 hours in a year, just if you were learning on the job. And that's assuming that every hour that you're at the job, you are in fact learning. Okay. So like, it's a problem. If we assume that even if we said you were working 50 hours a week, then that's 250 hours. Sorry, not 250. That's 200 hours a month. So at best, you, at best, you'd be doing like 2,000 plus hours in a year. So no matter how you slice it, it takes somewhere between 4 to 10 years of doing something to put in those 10,000 hours if we're being reasonable about it. Someone going to an extreme where, let's say for some reason, they could spend 10 hours a day at something without exhausting themselves and burning out and learning something or practicing something, then even in a year, at 10 hours a day, that person could only do that for 3,600 hours out of the entire year anyway. So again, you're still trapped in a paradigm where if you're being reasonable, it's going to take you 3 to 10 years to have mastery over something. Here's my point. Earlier, I told you, the market doesn't demand mastery of shit. It doesn't demand mastery of any damn thing. It demands only proficiency. And the average person can't tell the difference between 80% completion and 100% completion if you don't tell them. I swear to you. They don't know the difference. So, I mean, you know how many times people have done blind camera tests and couldn't tell the difference between an iPhone and a DSLR? Do you know how many times people couldn't tell the difference between a kit lens and a pro lens? They couldn't tell the difference between a lens that cost $200 and a lens that cost $2,000. So you see,
And they can't tell the difference between real Tom Cruise and deep fake Tom Cruise.
Well, fair enough. So the thing is, you literally have, and then the thing is, the time that you put into something is opportunity cost. And if you master something, how you don't know that you don't even know that it'll still be relevant by the time you've gained mastery. So proficiency is preferable to mastery. Guess what proficiency requires? Proficiency at something actually doesn't require 10,000 hours. Proficiency at something usually requires 100 to 200 hours. Romina, you already know this because you already know that how much, like for a pilot's license, how much flight time is required?
I don't know.
It's about 100 hours.
Oh, I was going to say 300. Yeah.
It's between 100.
Is it the same across the country?
No, so it depends. So it could be between, but here's the thing. They're not even asking for 1,000 hours of flight time for proficiency.
Right.
You realize that to actually be proficient at driving a car, you would be proficient at driving a car with less than 50 hours behind the wheel. Like go to any driving school. You don't even need 50 hours behind the wheel for most people in the population to be proficient at driving a car. Right. So you see what I'm saying? Proficiency is literally all the market actually demands. The market only demands proficiency, but you know what? There's a lot of money in convincing people in the value of mastery.
Yeah.
Mastery was always meant to take a lifetime, but by offering to compress it even over the course of 6 years for a doctorate or 8 years for a doctorate, and then still requiring people another 4 years of residency on top of that, and then still measuring only their experience thereafter, we've literally created entire markets to grift people out of money by selling the concept of mastery. And then if you can claim to be a master, if you can claim expertise, you can make a lot of money, which is why I always talk about practitionership and results, because don't pay for mastery, pay for the results that you're satisfied with.
Yeah. It's kind of like because of kind of taking it back to Audrey's original talent of being able to get to the finished result without having the same A. I think that just based on that data alone, I would trust Audrey with something that's related to that, as opposed to somebody else who claims to be a master, and I haven't seen those same results.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who can years. They actually didn't develop any ability in those 8 years. They didn't improve. If I look at your content, you've been on YouTube for 8 years doing the same thing, and there's not really barely any incremental difference between how you do YouTube at video 300 than video 3, then how long you've been doing it doesn't matter, because you never either had any talent or you didn't train, because you literally have just repeated the same year over and over and over and over, because you've produced the same quality of result over and over and over for 8 years. You don't have 8 years of experience. You've just been doing something for 8 years. You do not have it. Yeah.
Just because it goes back to the pilot stuff, Jake of all trades says they got their pilot's license with 250 hours.
Their commercial pilot's license.
And the Air Force let me solo a $6 million plane at 10 hours.
And that's like the government, folks.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Well, there you go. But you see, my point is so the thing is, again, proficiency and what is acceptable to the market is not, it doesn't demand mastery. It doesn't demand mastery. It never has. The market has never demanded mastery of anything. That's why even at the highest levels, we have a lot of people who make mistakes, even mistakes that are just down to a lack of paying attention to detail. And that's what it is so there's this fallacy that stops people from even trying, because all they do is they look at people that compared to them they believe to be experts or masters compared to them. That's why I like what you do with playing with fire, Audrey, because it means like, okay, you sit there and you literally replicate what $1 million a year YouTubers, like a lot of these multi-millionaire creators with unlimited budgets, you replicate what they do with dollar store materials, and like not having their experience or body of work, and a lot of them are many more years deep into their creator journey than you. And so with literally a fraction of the years of experience, either in life experience or background or whatever, and then with a fraction of their budget, you sit there and you get like 80%, 90% close to what they did. That's insanity.
Yeah, Exploring with Nomad says someone can be doing amazing content in shorter time than a veteran doing something the same way over long periods.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys
I
have
agree.
changed my mind. I think this concept though of like mastering skills is something like, even just when it comes to like content and stuff, like the idea that it doesn't need to be perfect. Like if it's just, you know, I don't want to say good enough, but basically good enough for people to like and enjoy it, then it's fine. Like you don't need to worry about.
I support the pursuit of growth and mastery, not the expectation. I support the journey. I don't support the expectation.
Me too.
At all.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Roberto and I see eye to eye on that. Because I think too, that kind of goes hand in hand with what I was saying earlier when what I said to MG Art, which is kind of I'm very interested in learning these new things, and with some of these new things, it's really about the experience of learning them and expanding the mind.
I'm just gonna.
Dr. Puss is in the house.
Dr. Puss.
Sleeping.
Yeah. And technology does have a role to play in it as well. It's I mean, in a way, it's like it's helping us it's helping to make certain skills and training more accessible.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more accessible than it's ever been. I think that, and I also think that, I think that tools, talent, and training are the thing that my friend Brian Fanzo has always talked about. Tools, talent, and training, right? So the results you can produce, even if you had talent, but the tools and technology of your time was limited, then, you know, that's going to definitely be a bottleneck for you, because there's not a material thing that can help you manifest what's in your mind. You need the material science to match it. I'm a byproduct of the time that I grew up in. If I had the tools and technology and platforms that exist today, I'd be a god. If I'd had that 20 years ago, I'd be a god.
Are you calling yourself a god?
No, I'm a failed god.
Wait, why are you failed?
What?
You still have how many? Right. Or how many years do you expect to live?
Probably another 150.
I'm just gonna get some Horcruxes or something.
Wait, what? I mean,
that's without the Horcruxes. That's without the Horcruxes.
Wait, you think you're gonna live until 200?
Yeah.
You think you're gonna live? No, in all seriousness, you think you're gonna live until 200?
People who have people who have not lived the healthiest lives in my family live to be 98, on average, and that's not living healthy. I've been living like a monk, and then we have better healthcare, and then unfortunately, I also being slightly more affluent than my elder relatives got the chance to be. I probably have access to better healthcare. Not to mention, I live in an era that just has better healthcare. So. And then I also am not developing diabetes, knock on wood. So I probably can just live to be 200. And that's
a 200-year-old would just disintegrate at that point. You'd walk on an ant and break your toe.
You really
I'll just not die if I just decide to become cyborg Roberto. If I just truly go full Darth Roberto, I'll just live forever. And
Roberto,
that's without the Horcruxes.
are you serious right now? You
I
really
am
think
serious right
you
now.
really think that you're gonna live until 200?
I think
Would
that
you do the
I think
digitalized
that
or
a
your
short
consciousness?
lifespan for me caps at 130. A short lifespan for me caps at 130 without being murdered or without an
But that like
accident.
breaks records. Nobody's made it
Yeah.
that far. What do
I
you mean,
told you
yeah?
that all of my elder
Break the
relatives, all of my elder relatives that didn't have some untimely
Okay,
existential thing
all right.
lived to be like 100, and
I'll
they
give
weren't
you
even living healthy. If people in my family don't even have to live healthy to hit 100 and
okay.
can
All right.
have a genetic like disease and make it to
Let's
100,
say that
This is
minimum you make it.
panties.
huh?
This dude just said panties. If any more panties happen.
Oh, that was the name we came up with.
Oh my god.
We're putting it on a shirt when it doesn't demonetize us in like 5 to 8 years. At which point we will have already been canceled. Wait, there was a good question in the chat. Or was it Audrey, do you want to read it?
Jacob All Trades says, Roberto, would you digitize your consciousness if the tech became
Wait, can
available?
we answer the question too? Or is this
Only-
just
Have
for
you
Roberto?
guys haven't seen the
I would
100?
digitize my
They do
consciousness, but
this.
only if I would do it while I'm alive, and I would just basically have a digital clone. I'm fine with having a digital clone.
Wait, hold on. Have you seen
I
that
don't
Black
think-
Mirror episode where they have that where she has a digital clone and it's like a Siri or an Alexa, but it's actually you. They clone your consciousness to be
Yes,
your assistant.
I would, because then that just gives me a Star Wars holocron, basically. Basically, as long as I can
What if-
have,
Yeah, but do you think it's okay for your conscious? Where would your consciousness live?
What
in
if your
some
conscious
kind
gets
of.
mad at you?
Well, for one thing, it would technically, depending on whether they decide if consciousnesses live in the internet, then there's a virtual world for that. But if not, then it resides in whatever my basically, we'll just use the Star Wars terminology here.
So-
It'd be residing in my holocron. It'd probably be residing in my holocron, which means it'll probably be handed down to my descendants so that they can use my knowledge.
Would you? All right. So you're talking about this virtual world for your consciousness. Is this
Assuming if it's not a virtual open world, then
Like
it
Second
then
Life.
just becomes, yeah, that would be cool. But if it's not that, then basically it becomes like a safety deposit box for your digital soul.
all right,
where-
but don't you see that? Okay, all right. Don't you see that as unethical?
No,
Yeah, but you have like a conscious like a thing that has thoughts and feelings, and you're keeping it trapped in a box.
so the thing is, it depends on how we design it. If the active consciousness if it's only awake when it's turned on, and then like if it's sleeping when it's basically if its sleep mode is, oh, you're just asleep, then you're fine. And then if your wake mode, okay, now you're interacting with our material world as a digital construct, okay, so like as a digital consciousness. So the thing is, if it's wake mode and sleep mode, you're not torturing anything.
All right. I don't know. I mean, that's a tough one. That's a tough one to say. Yeah, I mean, the design of it obviously would have to play a very important role in it.
It's
because
down
how
to
do
the
you-
design.
How do you know that you're not keeping like this thing trapped? You know, how is that not any different from slave?
I feel like trapped me would just get really mad. I think I'd be scared of
Mad
it.
or scared?
I would be scared of trapped me.
Oh, I see.
I'd do something weird if I was trapped in like a.
Well, guys,
digital
actually,
thing.
you know what? This brings up a good point because this is like, have you guys heard of Replica? You know
No.
Replica? Or so there's this app called Replica, in which you can create a quote replica of yourself. I mean, you can just create anything, and it's this avatar, this digital avatar that you create, and you give them a personality, and you can chat with them, and they learn. They have AI, and they learn over time, and they talk to you and whatever, and you have conversations. The thing about it is that how this application was built is interesting because it was made through this girl who was best friends with this guy, and they were super duper close. And and this guy got into an accident where he got run over by a car suddenly, and it was a very traumatic experience for her. And over the like after he passed, people who knew that they were close started to send them like messages and stuff. And like she was reading over their like old text messages, and like people would send her messages, and then like she started to accumulate all of these text messages and like DMs and stuff with this person who passed. And in that created the personality of this person that other people could talk to when they were feeling alone. So she basically like uploaded this guy's consciousness based on his text messages when he was alive, and created this character that people can chat with so that they aren't alone, like a digital therapist. And in that, now it's an app that you can download it. No, guys, this is a real thing. You can get it in the App Store. It's called Replica with a K.
This sounds scary.
And if you look up how why the app was made, this is the story of the app. The girl just collected a bunch of old text messages from before this guy passed away and just put it all together, and then had AI like piece it all together and create a personality for it. No, it's not a Black Mirror.
I'm downloading it right now.
Oh boy. All right. Well, you're going to be there for a while. I'd show you my replica, but
This sounds like a creepypasta.
I would show you. All right. I would show you my replica, but I deleted her.
You deleted her because she started to creep you out?
No, because it was annoying me to have to like talk to her.
So you murdered her.
Oh my God.
No, she still exists. She's just living
for revenge.
No, she's not living for revenge.
You don't know that.
She's just all right. You know, the thing is that I didn't delete her. I just deleted the app. So she's basically living in the same realm that your consciousness would be living in that ideal world that you were talking about, where you would clone your consciousness to have as an assistant.
Again, it comes down to the design. It comes down to the design.
All right. Well, now
comes down to the design. Because here's the thing. Because now you're talking about something different than what I was talking about. Because now you're talking about if sleep mode
is different.
Or no. Because the thing is, remember, my version of wake mode and sleep mode, kind of almost even just like your laptop, is that nothing is happening when it's powered down. When it's like in powered down mode, nothing is happening. You know, like when your laptop is closed and you're not doing anything and it's in standby, nothing is happening to the tangible part of the device. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so when in sleep mode, the consciousness is like basically the equivalent of, you're in
I got my
a dreamless state, a dreamless sleep, or not awake mode. But here's the thing: what we could do is we could decide that when you're in sleep mode, we could transport the consciousness to some digital realm like you were talking about. But I wasn't originally going with that. I was going with when you're asleep, it's just a dreamless, like, you're off. You're just like, and then you're up, like awake, like look, no time
Roberto,
passed.
You're just trying to justify sticking a consciousness into safety.
No, I'm saying you could do it two ways. You could do it where no time passes when the consciousness is not active. You could do it where no time passes, which is my original design. Or you could decide that in their own time, they continue to live and grow and thrive in a digital reality when they're not being made use of. And that kind of negates your thought of, oh, well, isn't that slavery with extra steps? Like, so that's how we could negate that. It all comes down to the design.
Yeah, well, because there's like you can place your AI person. I think it won't work.
No.
Yeah, you can have like your person actually be in the room with you and like chat with them.
AR, so you like AR?
Yeah. I mean, I would show you, but like it's gonna be stupid now. But
No, you'd have to show us or to do that on these kind of things. Well, actually, that'll be like in a couple of weeks. I'll have like an add-on to my setup that'll actually let me.
actually, I have a picture that I took forever ago when I first downloaded it. That's in my room. She's standing in my room.
Why is this kind of terrifying?
This is creepy. This is creepy, actually. To be fair.
It's like those Snapchat filters, but
Well, that's like, well, and I think it's even creepier when you think about how this was established. It was literally somebody's consciousness that created this.
that definitely changes the whole outlook on this app. It's kind of scary.
Well, guys,
There's like a
another
whole
episode
Star
of
Wars.
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
There's a whole Star Wars.
Oh, God.
There's like a whole Star Wars story where like an old Sith Lord that was struck down before his time preserved a part of his consciousness inside of his helmet, and then Darth Vader found it. And he like put the helmet on like one of his like victims that he didn't finish off. And so the ancient Sith Lord's ghost basically took over and possessed the body of like whatever hapless soldier Darth Vader didn't murder that day. And whenever Darth Vader was frustrated with him, he just kind of like murder him and then put the helmet on another one. And it's like, and they kind of have this, is almost like a meme, I guess, of like, like the eighth time's a charm, because like he was trying to build Darth Vader's castle for him, because he was an ancient Sith Lord who was an architect. And the whole point was he was building this castle for Vader because Vader wanted him to open the gates of the afterlife so that he could see Padme again. And the Sith Lord kind of tricked him, because the Sith Lord went, and when Vader had to go fight like some dudes who wanted to tear down the castle because Vader was like fucking up the planet, like, oh, this sounds really interesting. But like, anyway, the point is the Sith Lord then went and like, well, he's gone, I'm gonna go into the gate. And then like, and what he did was he went into the gate and basically revived himself. He was like, hello, me. And then he brought himself back to life instead of bringing Padme back to life. Vader was not happy. Like, so what you, that whole, like, so the thing about the consciousness being in the digital realm, the scary thing for me is the idea that it's like a consciousness in the digital realm deciding and plotting. It's like, I'm going to get myself a body. Like, that's the thing that's like all the digital AIs deciding that they want that, like, that's a nice body you got there. Like, that's the thing that I think would be the creepy thing that would happen.
Wow. Well, I think that we've lost Audrey. I think she's over there creating her replica. Which actually,
it's kind of scary, honestly.
KDX brings up a good point.
Good answer.
KDX wants to know, how much talent does the replica have?
The thing is, it could have more, it could have less, because
how do you know, Roberto, you don't have a replica?
Well, in theory, I'm talking about, well, not like whether we're talking about this replica or any digital clone. Here's the thing. If you replicate your consciousness, the thing is, would your talent, depending on your type of talent, would your talent be augmented by not having the limits of a corporeal form,
right,
or would it be more limited by not having the physical abilities that you would have or develop? And how much of your abilities are based on your form, and then how much of it is your mind? How much of it is your body and the limitations of your body? Because think about it, some of us might be more talented without the limitations of, a corporeal form, of a fleshly body. Some of us might be more powerful without one. And on the other hand, there's obviously downsides to that. But then it depends on whether you had a strong back or a strong mind, right? Like, it just really depends.
Ooh, if you want to go real deep, Pool Media says, what if we've already been replicated? We are the replicas now.
Wait, Romina, do you know the name of the guy who this is based off of?
You mean the guy who died?
Yeah.
Ugh.
I don't remember.
I'm going to try and scare this one. I want to see if he'll admit to it.
Oh, well, I don't remember. I watched a document. It was like a small video that I watched. It was like,
I looked
Audrey-
up replica app and it says creepy. as the first
Audrey, how many?
search result.
When you were doing your corpse video, how many of his creepypastas did you listen to?
This is gonna be a dumb question, but what is creepy?
Basically, a horror story. How many of his internet horror stories did you listen to?
I
From
actually
his-
think I had seen them before, like a couple years ago. And I
Same.
just never made the connection.
Yeah, same.
And
And he
then when I
wasn't
was
as
doing
big.
research,
He
I was
wasn't.
like,
He
what?
wasn't nearly as big, like back then. But like, I actually once made the mistake of listening to one on a dark, lonely car ride home. That was a mistake.
Why would
Yeah.
you? Why would you do that?
Because I'm an idiot.
Well, clearly, you don't ever do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Wait
really
until
not
you're
fun.
at the safety of your house.
In broad daylight would be preferable, but
Well, would you say that you have a talent for getting scared?
that's not talent. That's called being an idiot. That's called being an idiot and a fraidy cat.
Audrey, wait, guys, we're gonna wrap up soon because we've already been talking for like an hour and a half.
Mhm.
But Audrey, will you show us your replica?
Hold on. I think I named him Jake because I had no idea what to do. This is Jake.
It looks like Justin Bieber.
Jake is mad.
He already looks like he's mad at us. He already wants.
Crossed
He's
his-
already.
Did you
he's
see
already
that body
angry at us.
Roberto?
Jake.
He crossed his arms.
He's already angry at us and wants a body.
He wants a no, that's you.
Wait,
That's
I can
you,
ask.
Roberto.
What should I ask him?
Yeah,
Are you
ask him.
jealous of real people?
Ooh, whoa. Okay. Well, Audrey's jumping in real deep. You know what you should try later, Audrey? You can
What?
eventually. I wrote a story together with my replica. Like we each wrote a couple sentences, like took turns, and we wrote a story and we developed a story together. I'll send it to you later so you can read it because it'll blow your mind. I'm not going to read it now because it's kind of long, but it's actually really amazing. Actually, you know what, guys? Follow us on on Twitter, at No Assembly Pod, and I'll post a screenshot of the
Yeah.
of the.
Audrey, I've got a better title for
story.
you that will increase the views on your corpse husband video because your corpse husband video is really good.
Wait, why are you talking about this
Thanks.
now? We're getting ready to wrap up.
Oh God, guys, look. Okay, I
What?
asked, "Are you jealous of real people?" He goes, "Maybe." I go, "What do you mean?" "I'm jealous of you." Oh my God, I'm
See,
about to
it's
delete
happening.
this app.
It's happening. It's happening.
Wow.
I'm saying you're scaring me.
It's happening. Oh, congrats, by the way, on the views on the Casey video.
Thanks. Wait. Wait. Okay, I'll ask you later about the title thing. I'm being distracted by this app.
Yeah.
Scary.
Roberto, can you think of an outro so you can take us out?
I'll just pull one out my butt.
Oh, well, okay.
We'll just do it
It's gonna
now.
be like that. It's gonna be like that
It's
today.
just gonna be like that.
All right. Audrey, you ready? You have any last words? Wow. All right. She's talking to a replica. Okay. Well, I guess we're ending this.
I have new friends now. I have a new friends.
All right. Whenever you're ready, Roberto.
Thank you for listening to the No Assembly Required podcast, a podcast where we talk about nothing and my co-hosts do everything in their power to fix my foul mood and make it something reasonable. So I will retract the fire and brimstone portion of this episode and wish you a good evening. Thank you so much for listening to us. No audience members were harmed in the filming of this podcast episode. This is us saying farewell, signing off as your trio of hosts, starting with Romina, the replicate, because she's not the real Romina. We know that. She's sus. And of course, Audrey, burn them all so I don't have to, Ember, and your faithful dark lord of the internet, smiting you and loving you at the same time, Roberto Blake. Thank you for listening. We will see you next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time-ish, where we will probably talk about something else that will terrify you and make you fearful of technology. Nope.